farmers across the United States are warning the Trump administration and, of course, Republicans in Congress, if you do not help us, if you do not reverse these policies that are currently killing us, you're going to face the consequences, electorally, obviously. Now, here's the problem. Farmers in the United States overwhelmingly vote for Republicans. In fact, in 2024, a vast majority of them voted for Donald Trump. And they did that knowing damn well what he did to them during his first term with the tariffs, when the number of bankruptcies among farmers skyrocketed to a record high. And that was because of his tariffs. So they lived through 4 years of it. A lot of them went bankrupt. They knew how bad he was. They heard his campaign promises that he was going to do the same thing to a much bigger degree, and they voted for him anyway. Now, typically, when describing a group of voters in this manner, this is where I say I have no sympathy for them. Unfortunately for the farmers, I actually do have to have sympathy for them because their struggles translate to higher prices for all of us. So it's not like they're suffering in isolation. Their suffering spreads all over across the country to every single person. So kind of difficult to say, haha, you deserve this, when we're all collectively being punished for their stupid voting habits. But I'm not going to be nice to them. And I'm not going to feel sympathy for them. I'm not going to say they deserve it. But by God, I'm not going to feel bad for them. So here's the story. Here's what's happening. We got farmers across the country. Multiple articles have come out in just the last week about how they're being devastated by Donald Trump's tariffs. Specifically with regard to China. Obviously, China is now boycotting buying American soybeans because of Donald Trump's trade war. China is the largest single purchaser of soybeans here in the United States. Soybean farmers are going under. They're warning right now that 25% of soybean farmers could find themselves losing their farms, going full bankrupt if this continues. Let me read you this. This is from a farmer in Kentucky. He said, "We depend on the Chinese market. The reason we depend so much on this market is China consumes 61% of soybeans produced worldwide. It's a 5-alarm fire for our industry. That 25% of our total sales is currently missing. And right now, we're not competitive with Brazil due to the retaliatory tariffs that are in place. Our prices are about 20% higher, and that means that the Chinese are going elsewhere because they can find a better value. There's an artificial barrier that is built with these tariffs that makes us not be competitive." Another farmer had this to say. "It started off really good this year. We were in the field in late March, which is early for us, but then the wheels came off, so to speak, pretty quick." And of course, this farmer is in an area of the country that had massive flooding in April. Then, of course, they had a drier than usual summer. And he says, "So much of what has happened and what's going on here is totally out of our control. We just want a free, fair, and open market where we can sell our goods as competitively as anybody else around the world. And we do feel that we produce a superior product here in the United States, and we just need to have the markets." And then he went on to say that farmers have done everything right. They've managed their finances well. They have put in a good crop, but they cannot change the weather. They cannot change the economy. They cannot change the markets. The weather is in the control of a higher power, and the economy and the markets are in control of Washington, D.C. Do you see the contradiction in your own statement? We can't control the economy or the markets. Those are controlled by Washington, D.C. Who controls Washington, D.C., bud? Who is it? Who is it? It's the party you voted for. We can't change D.C. Yes, you can. But you have to change in order to change D.C. At some point, and I've been doing it for a while, but at some point, everybody else is going to have to get on board to say, you know what? The voters do deserve a share of this blame. Especially when they're out there saying it's out of our control because the politicians control it. Who puts the politicians in power, guy? Who does it? You do. You pick these people. Maybe you voted Democrat. I'm willing to bet based on where you're located, you didn't. But you probably voted for these people. Your neighbor farmers probably voted for these people too. And while y'all sit around, obviously, rightfully upset about the fact that you could lose your entire livelihood, do you ever once stop to think that maybe it's your goddamn voting habits that did it? Do you? Does that thought cross your mind? Because if it doesn't, then get used to what's happening now. Because if you can't change, then you can't change what happens up there. You have to be a part of it. You have to change those voting habits. You have to wise up. You have to stop falling for the BS. You have to stop voting for people because they say they're going to get transgender people out of sports. Stop being fooled. Stop being hoodwinked. Stop being an uneducated voter. The information is readily available out there. Stop hurting yourself because you're voting to hurt others. How about that? Because that's what they're doing. These are people who fall for culture war issues. Like, we can't teach critical race theory. Teachers are indoctrinating kids. Transgender people are in the bathrooms. I don't want these people to have things. I'm voting to hurt them. And those people do get hurt. But you know what? You're actually getting hurt worse than them right now. But you voted to harm other people. So you know what? I don't have sympathy for you. Yeah, I know it sucks, and we're all going to be impacted by this. But you voted to hurt other people. You just didn't think, as the saying goes, the leopards would eat your